staring at the strange land below. This planet was once home to a powerful alien race, now long gone. The ground was filled with rusted machines, broken buildings, and silence. The air felt heavy, with history and forgotten pain. His salvage crew had landed here 2 days ago, hoping to find valuable tech buried in the ruins. The others stayed near the shuttle, busy with scanners and digging. But Cal always liked to explore alone. He followed, a path that led through twisted metal and broken statues. As he walked deeper into the ruins, something strange pulled him forward. It wasn't curiosity, it felt like a whisper in the wind calling him. After an hour of walking, Cal reached an open field with a tall black spike rising from its center. The spike was at least 20 feet high, made from some kind of dark metal that shimmered faintly in the dim sunlight. At its top, something moved. Cal squinted and stepped closer. There was a figure impaled on the spike, an alien woman. Her body was thin but strong. Her skin, once bright, had turned dull with time. Her eyes were shut, but her chest rose and fell slowly. She was alive, barely. Her arms hung limp, and energy cuffs held her legs. The metal spike pierced her through the back and out her abdomen, but strange technology kept her from bleeding out. It was like she was frozen in time, unable to die, unable to move. Cal's heart pounded. Who could do this? Why? He pulled out his scanner. It showed a warning. Subject, Class 7 enemy combatant, dangerous, do not approach. Imperial Order 9X. Cal frowned. The war that destroyed this place ended nearly 40 years ago. No one had returned since then. Yet, here she was, left behind, forgotten. Suddenly, the alien's eyes opened. Bright, glowing silver stared into Cal's brown ones. She didn't speak. She didn't scream. She just watched him. Cal took a step back, unsure of what to do. He looked around, half expecting some ancient defense drone to rise from the dirt. Nothing happened. I'm not here to hurt you, he said, even though he knew she might not understand him. Her eyes blinked slowly, but her face remained calm. It was as if she had accepted her fate long ago. Cal looked again at the scanner. The warning flashed red, but he felt no danger from her. If anything, he felt shame, like he was seeing something he wasn't meant to see. He stayed there for a long time, just watching her and thinking. Then, as the sky darkened, he turned and walked back toward the ship. But his thoughts stayed with her. That night back at camp, Cal sat alone. The others were excited. They had found a working power cell and some rare alloys. But Cal barely touched his food. "You okay?" his teammate Juno asked. "Yeah," Cal said, but he didn't mean it. He couldn't stop thinking about her, how still she was, how quiet, and those eyes, full of pain, but not hate. The next morning, Cal returned to the spike. This time he brought supplies, a bottle of water and a small solar heater. He had no idea if she could eat or drink, but he placed them near the base of the spike anyway. He also brought a better scanner. He climbed partway up the rock platform below her and tried scanning the spike's energy field. The device beeped. Status: Life support system active. Neural dampeners engaged. Autostasis mode. Power source unknown. Deep core. Cal's mind raced. She wasn't just being punished. She was being preserved, kept alive against her will for decades. He spoke again, softly. "What did you do? Why did they do this to you?" She blinked, then moved her lips slightly. No sound came out, but this time, there was emotion in her eyes. Not fear, not anger. Hope. Cal returned every day after that. He began searching for data logs in nearby ruins. He found a broken terminal inside a collapsed bunker. After hours of work, he pulled up a record. It was old and corrupted, but he managed to read part of it. Ambassador Sihalara, sentenced by the High Tribunal for treason, refused direct orders, protected non-combatants, failed to deliver the signal, sentence eternal display. Cal read the line again and again. She wasn't a soldier. She was an ambassador. And her crime was showing mercy. He stared at the screen, shaking his head. They left you here because you did the right thing. The next day, Cal stood at the base of the spike again. Sihilara, he said softly. Is that your name? Her eyes moved slightly. A single tear slid down her cheek. That was all the answer he needed. I'm going to help you, he promised. The spike made a low humming sound as if it hurt him. The wind picked up, and dust swirled in the air. Cal knew this wouldn't be easy. Disabling the spike might set off alarms. It might bring others. Or worse, it might kill her. But doing nothing felt worse. He looked up at her once more, then turned and walked away. Not back to camp, but toward the ship's storage bay. He needed tools, a lot of them, and a plan. That night, Cal didn't sleep. He lay under the stars, staring up at the empty sky. He thought about Sihilara, alone on that spike for decades. He thought about what it meant to be forgotten, to be punished for kindness. He thought about what he was willing to risk to give her freedom. The next morning, before anyone else woke, Cal packed his gear, left a message on his datapad for Juno, and vanished into the ruins. This time he wouldn't just bring food or words. This time he would bring hope. The base of the spike. The morning sun had barely risen, casting long shadows over the ancient battlefield. His hands moved carefully over the control panel hidden beneath the rocky platform. Dust covered most of it, but he had wiped it clean over the last few days. Every button, every wire, every glowing crystal was part of the strange alien technology that kept Sihilara frozen on that spike. He had spent the whole night studying what little data he could find on energy suppression fields and neural dampeners. Most of it was beyond human understanding, but Cal wasn't giving up. He had come too far. Sihilara watched him from above, her body still limp, her face still calm. But her eyes never left him. She didn't speak. She couldn't. But every blink, every tear told Cal that she knew what he was trying to do. Hang in there, Cal whispered. Just a little longer. He connected a portable energy reader to the spike's core. A bright light flashed across his scanner screen. Power source, stable core reactor, alien origin. Warning, tampering may trigger defense protocols. Cal sighed. Of course. Nothing's easy with you, huh? Still, he didn't stop. By late afternoon, Cal returned to camp to gather more tools. His friend Juno met him by the shuttle, arms crossed. Where have you been disappearing to every day? She asked, frowning. Cal tried to act casual. Just checking out the east ruins, found some old tech, might be useful. Juno raised an eyebrow. The east side is marked restricted by the old maps. Radiation pockets. Didn't the commander warn you? Cal shrugged. Didn't feel any radiation. Probably outdated info. Juno didn't look convinced. Just be careful. You know how this place is. Creepy and quiet, like the dead are watching. Cal nodded but said nothing more. He didn't want anyone else knowing about Sihilara. Not yet. The next day, Cal brought a small portable generator. He connected it to the spike's base, trying to drain some of the energy feeding the stasis field. As he worked, the spike let out a low hum, vibrating slightly under his hands. Sihilara's fingers twitched. Cal froze. Was that you? He asked, staring up at her. Her hand moved again, slow, weak, but real. You're waking up? Cal whispered, amazed. It's working? But just then his scanner beeped loudly. A new alert flashed on the screen. Ancient Defense Network activated. Cal cursed under his breath and grabbed his tools. From the shadows of the nearby ruins, small black drones rose into the air. They had been dormant, until now. He ducked behind a stone wall as the drones scanned the area. One of them hovered over the spike, emitted a strange tone, then flew off toward the mountains. Cal's heart raced. He knew what this meant. They know someone's here. He whispered, And if they were still working, who else might be watching? Back at camp, Cal hid the tools beneath the floorboards of the shuttle. He didn't tell anyone what he saw. Not yet. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking of Sihlara, awake but still trapped. Her freedom, so close. And now drones were stirring from their long sleep. The spike wasn't just a punishment, it was a warning. Whoever had placed her there had made sure no one would ever rescue her. But Cal was already too deep to stop. The next day, Cal returned again. This time he brought something new, a basic neural translator. He had modified it from his own helmet gear. He wasn't sure if it would work on her species, but it was worth a try. He climbed the stone ledge and reached up, placing the device near her temple. It attached gently, blinking blue. The translator began scanning. Her brainwaves. Cal stepped back. "Can you hear me now?" Her eyes moved slightly. The translator beeped once. A faint sound came through Cal's earpiece. "Who?" Cal nearly dropped the receiver. The voice was soft, broken, but clearly female. "My name is Cal," he said gently. "I found you. I've been trying to help." A long pause followed. Then the voice replied very slowly, "Why, help me." Cal looked up, feeling a lump in his throat. "Because you don't deserve this. I know what they did. I found your record." More silence. Then, softly, "They feared peace, feared change." Cal nodded. "And so they buried you like this, alive." Sihlara blinked once. A tear rolled down her cheek. "I won't let it end like this," Cal said. "I promise you that." Suddenly, Cal's receiver crackled. A transmission from his crew. "Cal, we've got a problem." Someone triggered an old alarm grid near the east ruins. "Drones are flying overhead. Get back now." He turned off the link. His heart pounded. "They're coming," he whispered. Cal rushed to disconnect the power cables. He knew he had only minutes before the drones returned. He looked up at Sihlara. "I'll come back, I swear. I won't leave you like this." For the first time, her lips moved with a little more strength. "I believe you." Cal ran. Back at camp, chaos had begun. The drones had scanned their shuttle and flagged it as unauthorized. Red lights flashed on every system and the crew panicked. "What did you do?" Juno shouted. "I might have disturbed something old," Cal admitted. "We need to leave, fast." The commander ordered emergency liftoff, but Cal knew he couldn't go yet. Not without her. As the shuttle powered up, Cal made a choice. He grabbed a small scout pod, jumped in, and launched into the opposite direction, toward the ruins. His last words to the crew were simple. "I have to finish what I started." He reached the spike just as the drones returned. Cal didn't hide this time. He pulled out a jammer device and activated it. The drones froze mid-air, confused. Cal used the moment to climb up to the spike and place a pulse detonator on the base unit. It was risky. If it exploded wrong, Sihlara could die, but he trusted his hands. He set the timer. 10 seconds. "Hold on," he whispered. The spike shook violently as the charge went off. Sparks flew, energy beams flashed, and the field around Sihlara collapsed. She fell forward, right into Cal's arms. Her body was cold, weak, but alive. She looked at him, and this time, her lips moved freely. "You came back." Cal smiled. "Told you I would." The ground trembled. More drones appeared in the sky. Cal carried her toward the scout pod, holding her tightly, and for the first time in 40 years, the one left to rot was finally free. To keep her secure in the small scout pod. She was weak, barely able to move, but she stayed conscious. Her breathing was shallow, her skin pale and cold. Cal activated the pod's heaters and medical kit, which began scanning her vitals. "I've got you," he said softly, adjusting the controls. Outside, the sky filled with black drones. Their red lights blinked as they moved in groups, scanning the ground and air for threats. They were fast, silent, and deadly. Cal knew that even one hit from their pulse weapons could destroy the pod. He pushed the throttle. The pod shot up from the ruins like a bullet weaving through broken towers and rocky cliffs. Alarms blared inside the cockpit as 2 drones locked onto him. Incoming fire detected, the pod's AI warned. Cal pulled hard to the left. A bright beam flew past, missing the pod by inches. He kept flying, teeth clenched, trying to dodge through the narrow canyons. His eyes flicked between the drone radar and Sihilara's vitals. Another beam hit the tail of the pod, shaking them violently. Warning lights flashed red. Cal gritted his teeth. Just hold together for a little longer. He flew toward a deep canyon filled with metal wreckage from the old war. He had studied the map earlier. There was a hidden tunnel inside the mountain wall. He banked the pod sharply and dove toward the rocks. The drones followed, but one of them crashed into a tall metal beam sticking out of the ruins. Sparks exploded in the air. Cal guided the pod into the dark tunnel just in time. The drones couldn't follow through the narrow gap. The screen turned black. Silence. He had made it. Inside the tunnel, Cal slowed the pod and brought it to a gentle stop. The engine hissed and clicked as it cooled down. He stood and checked on. Sihillara. Her eyes were half open now. Her breathing had improved slightly. The medical kit had stabilized her heart rate. You're safe, Cal whispered. At least for now. Sihillara turned her head slowly to face him. Her voice was weak, but clear. They will not stop until I am dead. Cal shook his head. Not while I'm here. He gave her some water, then leaned back against the pod wall. He had so many questions, but he didn't want to overwhelm her. Still, one question burned in his mind. Why did they hate you so much? Sihillara closed her eyes for a moment as if gathering strength. Then she spoke, soft and slow. I was a peacekeeper. During the war, I refused to allow the extermination of surrendered colonies. I stopped the signal that would have destroyed them. My own leaders saw me as weak. Cal listened, stunned. They punished you for saving lives? He asked. She nodded. They needed fear to stay in power. Mercy was seen as betrayal. Cal clenched his fists. He had always known the galaxy was cruel, but this was beyond cruel. It was cold, heartless. Well, Cal said, voice steady, you're not alone anymore. Cal stayed in the tunnel for several hours, letting Sihillara rest. Outside, the drones searched the skies. He could hear the faint hum of their engines every time one passed above the mountain. He couldn't return to his crew now. If the drones scanned their shuttle, they'd know he helped her. And if the company found out what he had done, he'd be labeled a traitor, maybe even hunted. He looked at Sihillara again. She was sleeping now, peacefully. For the first time in 40 years, she was resting somewhere other than a spike. He sighed. You're worth it, he whispered. By nightfall, Cal powered up the pod again. He needed a safe place far away from the drones. He remembered a signal he once picked up, a derelict mining station in orbit around the planet's moon. Abandoned, off-grid, perfect. He guided the pod toward the stars, flying slow, and low, staying under the radar. The moon glowed faintly ahead. The station came into view, broken, cold, but still holding together. He docked gently. Once inside, Cal carried Sihillara into the med bay. The station's systems still worked, though weakly. He connected her to the main unit. It scanned her, and began deeper treatment. Sihillara looked around, confused. Where are we? Someplace safe, Cal said. Just rest. She tried to speak again, but he placed a hand gently on hers. You don't have to talk. You've said enough. Over the next 2 days, Cal repaired parts of the station. He installed solar panels on the outer hull and set up defenses using old mining lasers. The medical system slowly healed Sihillara. Her strength returned little by little. They spoke more as she recovered. Sihillara told him about her homeworld, a place of mountains and rivers, now destroyed. She had once dreamed of uniting her people and the humans through peace. But her dream had died when war won. Cal told her about Earth, about the sky filled with birds and the smell of rain. He told her that not all humans were soldiers or greedy salvagers. Some still believed in kindness. They both laughed quietly. It was the first time Cal had seen her smile, but peace didn't last. Cal's communication panel blinked. A message came through from a hidden channel. It was a bounty alert. High priority target. Human male assisting Class 7 trader. Reward, 100,000 units. Report sightings immediately. Cal stared at the screen. Someone had found out. Maybe the drones had scanned part of his ID chip during the escape. Maybe one of his own crew had reported him. Either way, they were coming. He turned off the screen and walked over to Sihalara. They've put a price on us. She looked at him with calm eyes. I understand if you leave. Cal shook his head. I didn't save you to leave you. I knew what might happen. I don't regret it. She looked away, silent for a long moment. Then, we must go far. Very far. Cal nodded. Do you know any place where they won't follow? Sihalara slowly stood. Her body was still healing, but her voice had grown stronger. There's a place beyond the edge of the mapped systems. A sanctuary. My people once used it as a refuge. If it still exists, we might find allies there. Cal grinned. Then that's where we'll go. He helped her into the pilot's seat beside him. The old mining station shook slightly as they prepared the ship for flight. They were outlaws now, but they were free, and together. Small points of light in the black ocean of space. Cal sat beside Sihalara in the cockpit of the old mining vessel. The ship was slow and worn, but it could carry them far from the dangers they had left behind. Sihalara stared at the distant stars, her pale fingers tracing patterns on the cold metal console. I have never been this far from home, she said softly. Cal glanced at her and smiled. Then let's make sure you don't have to go back anytime soon. For days they traveled through empty space, avoiding major trade routes and scanning for signs of danger. The bounty hunters were out there somewhere, Cal knew, but so far, they had stayed hidden. One night, while Sihalara rested in the medical pod, Cal decided to learn more about her story. He connected the ship's neural interface to her chair. The machine was old, but it could record thoughts and memories if used carefully. Sihalara's eyes fluttered closed as the device hummed quietly. Cal watched the screen as images appeared. Memories, from her mind. He saw mountains wrapped in mist and cities of glass and stone. He saw people of many shapes and colors walking together. She was among them, smiling and speaking to a crowd. Suddenly, the scene changed. The sky darkened. Ships fired, bright beams, cities burned. Sihalara stood before a tribunal of alien judges accused of betrayal. Her own people had turned against her for trying to stop the war. Cal's heart ached as he watched the trial. She was sentenced not to death, but to an eternal punishment. To be displayed as a warning for decades. But she never gave up hope. Her mind showed moments of her holding hands with children, protecting them from violence. She was a guardian of peace in a galaxy filled with hate. Cal tore his eyes away from the screen. She sacrificed everything, he whispered. When Sihalara opened her eyes, Cal smiled gently. I saw your memories, he said. You were not a traitor. You were a hero. Tears formed in her eyes. Thank you, Cal. No one has said that for a long time. Cal reached out and took her hand. It was warm now. We will fix this. We will show them the truth. She looked at him with hope. But how? Cal took a deep breath. I have a plan. We use this ship's black box. It records everything we find and can send data across the galactic network. If we upload your story and the evidence from the ruins, maybe others will listen. Maybe they will stop the hunt. Sihalara nodded, slowly. It is dangerous, Cal warned. If they trace the signal, they will come after us faster. She squeezed his hand. I trust you. The next day, Cal began preparing the transmission. He sorted through data logs, old records, and images from the planet. He uploaded everything into the ship's mainframe. As he worked, Silara practiced, standing and walking in the ship's narrow corridors. She was still weak but growing stronger. Cal noticed how her eyes sparkled when she smiled, a light he hadn't seen in decades. After hours of work, Cal activated the transmitter. The ship's console lit up as data poured out into the galactic network. Across systems, millions of data nodes received the message. "Your story is heard," Cal said quietly. "Your sacrifice will not be forgotten." But the victory was short. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Warning, incoming fleet detected." Cal ran to the cockpit. Outside, a fleet of ships appeared on the scanners, fast and heavily armed. "They must have traced the transmission," Cal said. "We don't have much time." Silara stood beside him, determined. "We cannot run forever," she said. "If they want to fight, we must be ready." Cal nodded. The ship's weapon system was basic, but they had to try. As the enemy ships closed in, Cal prepared to make a stand. He knew the truth was worth fighting for. The battle was fierce but short. The mining ship was no match for the advanced fleet. Lasers tore through the hull and the engines sputtered. Cal fought to keep control, firing weak blasts at the attackers. Silara helped coordinate their limited defenses. Just as the enemy closed in for the final strike, a sudden message came over the enemy channel. "Hold fire. Message from the Galactic Council. Stand down." Cal looked in disbelief. The enemy fleet stopped. A ship broke away and approached. It was a council vessel, neutral and powerful. The council officer boarded their ship. "I have read the transmission," she said firmly. "The council demands a full investigation." Cal and Silara exchanged hopeful glances. The officer continued, "Your courage has sparked change. Many have doubted your story, but now they must listen." Silara breathed deeply. "Thank you." "You," she said, "for believing." Cal smiled. Sometimes all it takes is one truth to change the stars. The council offered them sanctuary, but there was a price. Cal was asked to leave Earth behind. His name would be cleared, but he could never return home. He looked at Silara, who nodded. Together they stepped into a new life, one where hope could grow. In the vast darkness of space, its lights were bright but calm, a symbol of order and hope in the galaxy. Cal stood on the observation deck, looking out at the endless stars. Beside him, Silara watched quietly, her hands folded, her pale skin glowing softly in the ship's gentle light. They had come far, from a broken world where she had been left to die, to the heart of the galaxy's greatest power. But freedom had a cost. The council's leader, a tall alien with wise eyes, spoke with kindness but firmness. "Cal, you have done something few would dare. You saved a life when others left her to suffer. Your courage has changed the course of history." Cal bowed his head. "I only did what was right." Silara stepped forward. "My people judged me harshly, but thanks to Cal, the truth is known. The punishment I suffered was unjust." The leader nodded. "The council will work to repair these wrongs. Your story will be told across the stars, a reminder of mercy and hope." But the leader's tone grew serious. "Cal, your actions have made you a hero, but also an exile. Returning to Earth is forbidden. Your people must not risk the conflicts you have stirred." Cal felt a weight settle on his chest. Earth was his home, the blue planet he loved. He looked at Silara. She gave him a gentle smile. "We will face this together," she said. Days later, Cal and Silara prepared to leave the council's ship. They had been given a new vessel, a ship built for exploration and peace. Their mission? To travel the galaxy seeking others who needed help, carrying the message of unity and compassion. Cal adjusted the controls as Silara looked out the window. "Do you miss your home?" he asked softly. She paused. "Sometimes, but home is more than a place. It is where hope lives." Cal smiled. "Then wherever we go, We are home. Their ship left the council station, moving toward the unknown. The stars stretched before them like a road of light. Cal felt a new purpose. He had risked everything for a stranger. In return, he had found friendship, trust, and a new family. Sihlara rested her head on his shoulder. Thank you, Cal, for seeing me when others could not. Cal kissed her forehead gently. You saved me as much as I saved you. Together, they looked ahead. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time it was full of promise. Far away, on Earth, a message reached Cal's former crew. Cal's name is cleared. He is a hero. The galaxy owes him thanks. They smiled, proud but saddened to lose their friend. Cal and Sihlara traveled among the stars carrying a story of hope, a story of a human who risked everything to free an alien left to rot. A story that proved, even in the darkest places, kindness can shine brightest.